Check this out. These are scenes from the happiest nation on earth. But why?
50 degrees is very, very hot.
So another round of airbnfeast has started and it is absolutely pissing down outside. I am in Estonia, but catching the ferry tomorrow to Finland. Gonna sort of like hybridize this because I actually shot some Estonia stuff last year. Wasn't enough to get a whole episode out of it, so last year was a great summer, this year not so flash, so maybe we'll see how it goes. But for now, I'm waiting for Dave and Elke, who you may have seen on the Greece trip, and I'm gonna go get me some Hesburger for dinner and be just the ultimate slob before they arrive. We're heading up to go into Finland to get to the rally. Dave and Elke making their sophomore appearance on Airbnfeast. But first we had to get there, and it was a psychological hurdle for one of us. I think this is the first time Dave, this is actually the first time you've been on a boat.
First away from land I've been. Can't see my house from here.
5 minutes onto a boat cruise. Oh no, on a car ferry, and Dave's like, I've not been this far from land before. Dave, our social lube, and Elke, our human laugh track, certainly did their best to dispel some of the rain clouds that were gathering over Helsinki as we arrived, and we got caught out more than once. Helsinki is lovely, but I see no unusual levels of happiness here. To me, it just seems like a fairly standard European city. Good public transport, a little bit expensive, but then there's this supermarket. To me, this place is nirvana. Frankly, I was actually a little bit overwhelmed by the selection in the supermarket. I wanted to set up camp in there and just try everything, and as a result my approach to buying things was a little bit helter-skelter, but we got there in the end. I don't think I've been in a supermarket that smells this good. There's a bistro just in the supermarket. And I understand that this place is very expensive, but my god, this is cool. Bizarre thing, I'm looking for meat and just everything's from New Zealand. Lamb, even bloody deer. What is jahettu naudan maksa? That was the most insane supermarket I've ever been to. Amazing. Expensive, but amazing. Elke's raised a good point. So she reckons that this is sort of what this is what Helsinki used to be like. Just sort of like a big rock. Which means at some point they've just gone, no. Leveled it off and then left this as an example of their dominance over nature. Maybe? Just speculating. Our lunch at this restaurant gave me a bit of a glimpse into what Finnish food was like, and perhaps what my food would be shaping up into. It was simple, but done really well, with not much room for frivolity. Our journey to the Airbnb was relatively unremarkable. It's just a long road, ending in a cross-country trip to a lakeside. Off-grid, well and truly. It was 2 rooms. My room was this little dark one here, nice single bed, and then everything geared towards overlooking the lake. Really basic wash area, and then a completely unpretentious but shockingly well-equipped kitchen. So this is our grill cabin in Finland. You two, Come here.
That's beautiful.
So I want to introduce you to sous chef Dave and demi chef Elkie. So we're going to be cooking up a feast in our little cabin. We've got a grill here that we're not going to use, except for maybe the burner on the side. And then here we've got a like an old wood fire stove that I've been using in Latvia, so I'm fairly confident. And we've got a big like griddle plate that I can put on top. So basically going to be doing two things. I'm going to have a little entree of this bread cheese thing. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's sort of like got a grill on the, like it's been grilled on the front. I'm going to give it like a bit of a sear to add to that, and then I'm going to have it with a strawberry jam. And then for the main, we've got fingerling potatoes and we've got deer. So this is like lots and lots of slivers of deer or venison, and I'm going to sear that on the griddle plate as well and get it nice and crispy, I think. And then it's going to go with a range of things that I got from the supermarket. That absolutely amazing supermarket. And I think it's going to look really nice. So we'll crack on with it. In the end, the wood was damp enough that we had to use a candle to really get it going. That's a grunty candle. But yeah, we're getting some heat, we're getting some smoke, and we're going to get some cooking done. Quick stat. So this is all heating up nicely. The fire is raging. So it's time to get the strawberries on. Hey Dave, can you fill that pot up with water from the lake? So these little fingerling, I think they're fingerling potatoes, they're just going to get a boil. And then they're going to get a bit of a fry up along with the meat. So these are golden beetroot. They're delicious. I haven't seen them in a while. I'm going to give them a peel. I'm going to slice them very, very thinly, and I'm going to wilt them in salt. Then give them a little brush of honey, and they're going to go amazing in our venison salad. The salt is drawing out the moisture. Once the salt's all dissolved, then I'll give them a rinse, and then give them a little honey wash. Put some honey in there, and then just give that a mix. So I was going to cook reindeer, or elk, or something local, but the meat section was just so much meat from New Zealand and Australia. And in the end, I was like, I'm not paying 25 euros for half a kilo of slivered frozen elk. So I went for half a kilo of frozen New Zealand venison. Little taste of home. So we've got a marinade of garlic and gherkins, or gurkishi, or whatever they call it in Finland. And that's all gonna go in. So that's going to get mixed in along with a little bit of smoked salt. So my wood burning stove, like this at home, isn't actually like this one. I think you've actually just got to take those rings off before I put the grill on. So I'll take a few of those off to get my heating area a bit better. The strawberries were reducing and becoming incredibly fragrant. And I got them down to a nice thick sauce. And then it was just a case of putting down the cheese for a grill. Done okay? I tried to follow suit with my plating, keeping it really, really simple. Because the flavors should speak for themselves. Yeah, approve. Oh.
Very good.
Mm.
The goat's cheese is has too much of like a
Sour flavor.
no.
No?
Like it smells of the farm. It smells and tastes of the farm.
Gamey.
Gamey. As this cow's one, I presume it's from cows. I'm looking.
I think it's cows. Creamy.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't tried it yet. We'll give it a go.
I like it.
So got tarragon, strawberries, smoked salt, a bit of honey, and some microgreens, and this cheese that I can't pronounce.
The honey takes it up a level. It gives it a layer.
Well, yeah, it's just basically halloumi, but less salty. You're right. Squeaky.
Squeaky, super squeaky.
Super squeaky, but seriously delicious.
Love the squeak.
It's like it's more creamy than halloumi. and I think the strawberries go well. And for someone, how did you handle the strawberries?
It's good. Yes.
Elkie doesn't like strawberries. What?
Loves Wimbledon, hates strawberries.
Bro, what the hell's up with that? Yeah, that's nice. I'll put the recipe up for this one, I think. You think?
Yeah.
Easy as! Just do it with halloumi and...
Just logistical nightmare if you have to make your own fire.
That's good. I really don't like... This meat is sort of like minced, like semi-minced, like hand minced. I don't even know if it's meant to be cooked or what. So yeah, I plated this on a paper plate because the plate inside was just far too ugly for me to just put it on there. Now, interestingly, the meat I bought ended up being minced. Very odd, so I cooked it anyway, you know, beggars can't be choosers. And we'll give this a go. So we've got little fingerling potatoes, we've got pickled or salt brined beetroot, beautiful little berries, and a bit of tarragon. Yep. So, gaminess from the meat is like the first thing that hits you, and then you get a bit of sweetness from the beetroot and a little sourness from the berries, and then you get a broad hit of olive oil that I drizzled on, and then it comes up the tail with the tarragon flavor. So you finish on a herby note. Smoked salt, very nice, and the potatoes give you a nice sort of like heartiness to it. It's delicious. I probably need to rejig this with a different meat because, let's face it, mince is mince. Still tastes good, but visually it's not that great. Either way, this has ended up really good. You can also taste a little bit of pickle in there that I put. Fairly happy with that. It's not as good as the first dish, but it'll do the job. Think so.
For realsies? Oh my god.
Alcohol and no cell reception absolutely breeds things like this. This is darts from a distance. Later turning into darts in the dark at a distance. The camera is really compensating here. Here's what it actually looked like.
It's just a marker. I'm just...
Oh, you can get see.
We had the sauna fire going all the way through dinner, and by the time we got to actually going in there, it was scorching. Probably the perfect temperature for a Finn, but for sauna novices, it was like a hot bear hug that my experience meant that I could barely handle it. So we accepted the chill of the lake. Hot and cold in its uncomfortable contrast is a really weird but simple pleasure that the Finns seem to have absolutely mastered. Day at the rally. Got my gum boots. These guys are in running shoes.
Got my swag.
Got your swag. Got the mate. Bloody beautiful.
In the rain.
And as that car burst around the corner, I figured out why I was here, and it wasn't what I thought. You see, the cars only come every 2 to 3 minutes. It's not exactly action-packed. So in between times, you're eating, you're drinking, you're socializing in the sun and enjoying the sounds of a car tearing along a dirt road. Even if you're not a petrol head, I recommend doing this. So we pulled over to the side of the road, because we needed to turn around to a little pit stop area. And our pit stop view is this. So views like this seem to be a dime a dozen in the best possible way. So basically the idea is that we're going to get to the next stage, which is just sort of back there around the corner, and then park up, camp out until that stage is over, and then go home. Yeah, maybe take a row in the boat and live that Finnish life. Have another sauna. Sauna was pretty damn good. I think it's like knocked Elkie out pretty good. So we were at the restaurant yesterday, and Dave looked up at the waitress and he said, what is Finnish culture? And she looked back at him and said, meat and potatoes. Now, I think she was, thinking that we're at a restaurant, we're talking about food, but Dave had other questions in mind. But in a way, it seems like she had a little bit of perhaps unintentional meaning behind it. A little bit of a euphemism. Meat and potatoes culture. Sort of like satisfying, simple, and just nourishing in general, perhaps. But I'm starting to think that might actually be the case. I mean, we're at this pit stop right now, and Dave has just... what did you get?
So apparently one of the greatest sausages in Finland with a bit of mustard. So straight. And when we went to Rally, they had these massive woks full of like Finnish hash, just potatoes and sausages, and everyone was just happy to tuck in, as that was their meal for the day. So even though they were in the forest, enjoying a simple life, camping out, having sausage and a bit of potatoes, it was I think maybe like a throwback to a foregone era.
Well said, Dave. Well said. All right, let's get to the rally. Okay. Glad I got gumboots. There are 186,000 lakes or more in Finland. And it makes me wonder, is lakeside living in this place cheaper than what it would be in any other country? By virtue of the fact that there's just so many of them, and most of them seem to have little houses around them. And if that is the case, then you can see why this nation might garner the name the happiest country on earth. This is very, very relaxing. And it sort of takes me back to that whole thing I was saying earlier about a meat and potatoes life. Is this a meat and potatoes life? It might be. It's simple. It's not frivolous, but it is certainly nourishing. Absolutely stunning. So just before we had to catch the ferry back to Estonia, we stopped at this place called Lol. I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure. But it is luxurious. It's a sauna. It's got 3 saunas. 1 overlooks the Baltic Sea and 2 are wood-fired. And it's just, you've got to visit. So I have ventured to Finland now, and I have seen the components of the happiest country in the world. And I can report back that happiness is being misconstrued with contentedness. And that's not a bad thing. I think happiness sets a bar that is unnecessarily high, is unnecessarily ambitious. I think contentedness is a great state of being, and I think that they have mastered it, taking pleasure in simple things. Now, I understand why. Having lived in Latvia through a pretty vicious winter, but not nearly as vicious as what the Finns get without any sun at all, I think that maintaining a contentedness with the simple things in life is very, very important. Even Finns, to some extent, suffer from depression and at quite a high rate through wintertime. Lack of sun, lack of friends and family, the isolation of snow is a real thing. It keeps you where you are. But it seems like on the whole, they make the most of what they've got. That rat race is vicious. Don't get caught up in it too much. That's easy to say, isn't it? Anyway, well done, Finland.
Hot off the back of lunch, dessert lunch. We'll start off with a cheeseburger from McDonald's. Not bad. Supple bun. Good salt levels, a little bit of sweet. It's alright. Now for the hamburger. Supple bun once more. Hot. Well balanced, slightly dry. Ever so slightly, but pretty good on the whole. This is top 10. Without actually having the list in front of me, this is definitely top 10.